It all started when I was in Portugal on holiday with my family. I was 4 and my brother was 2. I was there with my mum, my dad and my grandma. And at the time, I'd only had a couple of swimming lessons and my brother hadn't had any. We were in a little villa, we had our own pool. It was my first holiday away, quite a defining moment in my life. It was a good holiday until my brother had quite a sizable accident on the poolside. At that point in my life, I was very, very scared of water. I didn't like getting anywhere near it. I didn't like putting my face in it. I didn't like not being in control of what could happen. And every time I got in, my heart rate was going through the roof. It wasn't a comfortable environment for me to be in at that sort of age. And my brother, I can't imagine what he would have felt, because he didn't like it either. He was mucking around and then he thought he was going to pretend to be some sort of ballerina on the poolside. I told him he'd fall in. I did tell him, but he was having none of it. He eventually, because there was only maybe 5 metres of water between me, which to me now seems like nothing, but less than nothing. But then it felt like a mile. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even imagine myself swimming that sort of distance of water at that point in my life, with the depth it was, without me myself drowning. I was terrified of it. And I always remember when he fell in, because he went straight at the bottom. I watched him go down, and at that point I froze. I can't explain how it just made us just freeze on the spot. I couldn't do anything. I was every single fibre of us wanted to go in after him, but to go in after him I'd have to overcome probably one of my biggest fears, and I couldn't do it. It's always sort of been there at the back of my mind that I couldn't bring myself to go in, even if my mum and dad and my grandma weren't around, that I'd have to wait for someone else to get him out, but I couldn't do it. He'd only been in there a matter of seconds before my mum got him out, but still it was scary enough to, once he was out on the poolside, for my dad to make the announcement of that he wanted the pair of us to be taught to swim properly. He wanted us to swim in a club situation, and he wanted this situation never to happen again, because he didn't want, for one, lose his son, my brother, and he also didn't want to lose me if I had a similar accident. So from that moment on, I became a competitive swimmer. My mum and dad had said there was no way that I wasn't going to learn to swim. Eventually it started to dawn on us that I had to do it, not just for me, but for my little brother, because I had to beat the fear that had stopped me from going in after him straight away to be able to save him. It was good, and I enjoyed it, and I was really improving. I was on a great programme, and I always remember my first competition. It was the club Christmas Gala, and at that I got 3 gold medals, and that sticks out as a very, very important point in my career, as I could put it, because that's the point where I thought, well, maybe I can have a go at the real competitive side and see what happens. I always remember when I came out the pool once, my mum was picking us up outside, and I saw I pull up, and I got in the car, and she said, the Olympics have been announced in London, we've got them. And from that moment onwards I thought, oh wow, it would be really, really, really special if I could get there, if I could train. I was in a perfect position at that point. I was young. It was 4 years. Well, it was more than that. It was about 6 years till the Olympics, and I thought, wow, I could really, really have a good go at this. And I was excited. And from that point on, that's where my dream was formed, and it never went away. The Olympic trials, they were in March 2012, and they were sort of coinciding with the British Championships as well, and that's what I really had my heart set on. And the sort of training pace that I was on was good enough, and I could actually be there, and I could have my chance. Unfortunately, I developed a slight shoulder niggle. I went to a physio. He said it's going to be a 2-week injury, and that 2-week injury turned out to be the biggest injury of my entire life. I was actually told to take a 2-week break, but my coach insisted, no, carry on. I trained through the absolute agony of all the sets and that, and I pushed myself through it, and I did it again and again and again, and a lot of the time I didn't know why I was doing it, but then I cannot live with myself if I don't try, and I did. I tried and tried and tried until it was a morning session. It was a Saturday morning, and I always remember I got out I was pretty much flat out on the poolside. I was in absolute agony. And I got out and I went into the changing rooms and I sobbed my heart out. And that was it. That my career was over. I always remember the day that the Olympic trials were, and a few of my friends actually made the games. It cut us in half, and I'll never forget it. And I thought, well, that's it. I'm done. I'm toast. What's left for us? I've trained my whole life for nothing. Well, I was absolutely gutted after finding out that I couldn't swim anymore, but after a lot of time of feeling lost, feeling very, very sad, there was eventually light at the end of the tunnel. When I sent just one chance email, I asked if there was any teaching or coaching positions available, because I wanted to be still involved in swimming. I wanted to give what I know to younger kids. I had two options. I could either go into teaching or I could go into being a competitive coach, and I really wanted to be a competitive swimming coach. And now I've got my own squad. They're a great group of kids. I'm not so lost anymore. Yeah, I might not be able to do it myself, but I can still continue the dream that I've got through them. And so maybe I'll find myself at the Olympic Games one day. Not as what I'd first pictured, as me on the blocks myself, but as a coach on the poolside, screaming my lungs out for whichever swimmers that I hopefully could get there. It's obviously a long road. It's not going to be anytime soon, but if I do make it, I'll consider my dream fulfilled.